What up, you guys? It's Rafael at Tops of Collectibles. Smell that? Smell that? It's fear. It's fear. Fear is in the air, people. I got a couple questions from people asking me the $1 million question recently. And I can tell you what's going to happen. I just can't tell you when, right? Because the current state of the market right now points towards one thing. But the truth is, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody has a crystal ball. And we don't know where we're headed in this current crash, correction, cool down, whatever you want to call it. I decided to make this video because there's a lot of new people in the hobby and a lot of new people that follow the channel. I've been around the hobby for maybe 9 years now. Haven't been on YouTube making videos for too long, but I've been around the hobby for quite some time. Since I was a little kid, played the game, watched the cartoons, took a little break. We all took that break, when life got busy, and then we came back as adults. I think it's very important to realize and know what has happened in the past and a recessionary period or the exit from a bull market, right? So the best way to explain that is to show you from somebody that has been around, that you guys probably already know, that has been around the hobby on YouTube, making the content with essentially is a free data, free content, free data out there for you guys to absorb and understand what could potentially happen here in the next couple of maybe, months, maybe less than a year. We don't know when, but what we do know is that it's going to happen, right? I'm going to play a little clip from Alpha Investments, Rudy. Hopefully we can hold hands and navigate a little bit through what happened in the past and what could potentially happen after the bull market of 2025.
I'm warning a lot of people right now who are still trying to jump on this train. There's going to be a moment where supply does open up with Pokemon, and new release Pokemon boxes are not going to be $150 per booster box. Okay, same thing with the Elite Trainer boxes. These things are not going to come out and just be $100 items when stores are paying $30 to $40 a piece. The margins are temporary. They will not stay this way. And for a lot of you out there who have not been in this industry long term, that shift, that very fast market shift, is usually what nukes a lot of the noobs and the timmies. And I don't mean to bash certain people or certain socioeconomic classes in this sector, but if you are an individual and you have a small apartment on the 3rd floor and you're buying Pokemon and trying to flip online, you got a side hustle going, hey, more power to you. No disrespect. I love to see people work a regular job and try to start a side hustle and really try to build something. I think that's the American spirit, and I think that's really healthy, and it just shows that you're really trying to better yourself in business and financial situation for the future, for yourself and your family. I think that's respectable. But I want you to be aware, if that market tilts, and when that stuff happens, it happens fast, folks.
So it's not a question of if, it's a question of when, right? The people, the businesses that are over leveraged, that took more than what they should have, took a bigger bite of the cake than what they should have, are the ones that are going to be in the most pain. Why? Because they own a business and they need to pay bills, and they're holding all this product because they thought the market was going to continue to go up and up and up and never going to see a crash. Those are the people that are going to hurt the most, and they're going to be forced to fire sell a lot of their product. We have seen this in the past. The businesses, people, investors that are sitting on cash with no loans, no debt, are going to be the ones that are going to come in and scoop up all of these deals, all of these fire selling that's going to happen, because they were just waiting. They knew, they've been there, done that, and they knew that when this happened, they wanted to be ready to capitalize on the opportunity, right? Be greedy when there's fear, be fearful when there's greed. It's simple as that. If you're not a business and if you're not like a deep pocket heavy investor, all you really have to do is focus on risk management. So don't have any debt, don't be buying with credit cards where you're paying interest, and have cash on the side if you have heavy amounts of Pokemon product that you're selling and you're banking on being an investment, right? Because when the market does turn, the problem that happens when the market turns, a bear market could happen and could last a year. It could last 2 years. And during that 2-year market, if you have, let's say, $50,000, $60,000 worth of product sitting around, and God forbid an emergency happens, now you're forced to tap into that money that's locked up in boxes that you now have to sell and find a buyer for. The problem is that during a bear market, it is very tough to sell that amount of product. Not a lot of people have the deep pockets to be buying when the market is not as strong as during the bull market. But during a bear market, people are buying at very selective prices, and there are very few the ones that are buying, large collections like that. So you can see how very quickly you can shoot yourself in the foot with a large amount of collection if you're not prepared with emergency funds and with cash in the bank during this heavy, long bear market. Now, are things gonna go to zero? Is everything gonna crash completely in a massive collapse? That's not the case. A lot of the times, the new set in print, the set that Pokemon Company decides to print to the moon, and the sets that are in print in the time is usually the ones that get hit the most, combined with not so strong sets that just came out, right? But when we talk about like booster boxes from the Sun and Moon era, and maybe even like the stronger sets from Sword and Shield, those may not get touched as much. They will see a little bit of a correction, but they won't see 50 to 60% crashes like you could with potentially maybe Journey Together, for example, or maybe even, I don't know, Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces, right? Maybe even some of the sets in the Mega era, ME04, ME05. Maybe those sets are gonna get hit the most because that's the time when Pokemon Company decided to really upscale the printing, right? Hit their marks in terms of printing, but a lot of people have already exited the market because they got fearful of what's to come, of the correction of what we're seeing right now, the 20 to 30% drops. So people exit the market because they're not getting the $20 and $30 profits from quick flips anymore. And so that disparity, right, a lot of inventory and not much demand causes what we are known to see as a crash. And then all of a sudden, Targets and Walmarts and all of your retailers have products, the shelves are full, and now we're going back into the normal things of the market and the cool down, and a lot of the fire selling starts. There's a lot of moving parts, and this is the time where you move in and take advantage, again, with cash on hand to take advantage of the deals that do come to the market. There's a lot of selling happening right now, a lot of people taking profits on their collections currently right now, and that's because they are seeing the 20 to 30% correction. And the truth is that we don't know how deep this correction is going to go. For all we know, it's 20 to 30%, and then we're going back up, right? And that may be the last leg up of the bull market. For all we know, at the same time, it could be that we're going 20, 30, 40, 50, and this is it, right? This marks the end. As you guys already saw with Rudy back in, I think that video that I just showed was from 2021. This happened during that time, right after during the COVID bull market, right? It ended right at the end of, I think, I want to say it was the Sword and Shield era into the Scarlet and Violet era. Nobody could move Scarlet and Violet base, right? It was rough. The bear market was really, really tough, and a lot of the products were just going stale, right?
Give you guys a little bit of backstory here. When I was into all the Pokemon sets and buying a lot of each release, that ended for me in 2018, towards the end of the XY era, when the Sun and Moon era took over. I walked away from the Forbidden Light, and of course Burning Shadows and Guardians Rise were kind of the last big sets that I was buying a lot of boxes in. I got frustrated because literally the prices were just dissolving. I couldn't sell them or anything. Obviously the world has changed completely. Everything from that era is worth its weight in gold.
For the majority of 2023 and 2024, the shelves were stocked with 151 UPCs, 151 Elite 20 boxes, and a lot of product that just didn't fit on the shelves because nobody was buying. There was no quick money to be made yet in those products. I was buying them, but I wasn't buying them at the level that I should have bought them, right? But it always goes like that because at the end of the day, nobody has unlimited amount of money, amount of capital to be able to deploy it into things like that, especially during a bear market where you know that you're going to be sitting on that stuff. It's essentially that money for 1, 2, or whenever the next bull market comes. And the truth is, you don't really know when the next bull market. We can hypothetically assume when it will come based on data from previous bull markets and bear markets, right? But it's not set in stone that one will come every 3-4 years, whatever the case is, right? And so this time around, with the current correction that we see, 20 to 30%, it is in your best interest to take this time to realize that this could happen. And if you're banking on a lot of investments and you don't have money, cash as an emergency fund, and you don't have a way to continue to move your business because you took too much and your capital is not rolling over how it should to be able to pay the next bill from distribution. If you do have distribution as a business, then this is the time for you to take a step back and realize, okay, where do I stand in my finances and where would I be if we do get a 50 to 60% crash? Right? And a lot of businesses right now, because distribution is not giving them a lot of product, they have turned to buy from the market. They have turned to buy at 75 to 80% from the market. But when the market crashes and we get a 40% cut, now they're upside down and they're taking massive losses across the board, you know, and a lot of these businesses move, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So a 40% haircut like that, it could be very, very damaging for a growing business in a market like this. So it's very important to realize where we stand and where we can potentially go by looking at a little bit of data. And Rudy himself, somebody that's been around for, I don't know, he says 20 plus years on YouTube or whatever he says on the channel, it is somebody that is worth looking at in the past. So I went ahead and pulled those videos for you guys to basically realize that this could happen again. This is a wake-up call. This 20 to 30% drop right now, it's a wake-up call for you to realize, okay, where do I stand if this goes south, right? As a collector, it really doesn't affect you much, other than you're probably going to see a lot more product available at your current stores, and the prices are going to fluctuate a little more, and that's the best time, right? That's the dream time, because now shelves are stocked. You can find product for cheap. You can go on TikTok shop and get a discount and buy Pokemon for below MSRP, because that happens, right? That tends to happen. It happened back in 2021. It probably will happen again if we turn to a bear market that comes down aggressively. Usually when things go up too much, the downturn is stronger. That's usually how it goes, right? The higher it goes, the higher the downfall, or the stronger the downfall. When talking about pricing, one thing that we need to realize, especially for those that have been around for 8+ years, is that we need to forget about the price memory of what things used to cost. Because with inflation, with the tariffs, and with the way the world is going right now, thinking that booster boxes are gonna go back to $80 to $90 how it used to be back then, I don't personally think that that's gonna happen anymore, especially with a lot of the retailers right now moving to pricing ETBs at $59.99, $60 basically, and booster bundles selling for $40 in GameStop, how you guys have seen it. And booster boxes are now $150, and I don't see them going back to the $80 to $90 price point that we were used to back then. We need to realize that this is the new norm. Things have changed. This is how much booster boxes are now going to be costing moving forward. Distribution has already adapted. Retailers have already adapted. We need to focus on the future, and we need to focus on making decisions right now based on what could potentially happen. We still have the holidays that's going to happen right now. There's a lot of Black Friday deals that are going to happen at the retail level, as well as local card shops. I was talking to a couple card shops in my local area. They're already trying to do deals for Black Friday to try to get people into their door and try to upscale their selling and try to move a lot of product, because they have been taking a lot of product this year. Christmas normally is a slow time. Black Friday, it's a lot of sales, and it does affect the TCG in terms of sales. You see a lot of sales across the board and deals happening. But during the Christmas time, like in December more specifically, we usually see a slowdown in the movement of products. That's what's happened. But I don't know where we're going to stand this year based on what we're seeing right now in the current market. And it's all going to depend on either Phantasmal Flames or whatever the next set is that is coming, and based on how much inventory we get at release. And also depending on how or when Pokemon Company starts to release what the new set's gonna be and what they're gonna do for the 30th anniversary, because 2026 is the 30th anniversary for Pokemon Company, and we haven't yet gotten not even a sneak peek as to what's gonna happen with that. And you do know that when that happens, there's gonna be a lot of new people and a lot of more people that's gonna be talking about it, and they're gonna move into the hobby just because of the 30th anniversary. So that is something huge that is coming, and I don't know how this correction and how the way that the market is right now is gonna be affected by those news, or if we're gonna get a set. Because one thing that we do need to understand and realize is that we don't even know if we're gonna get a 30th anniversary set. We're all assuming that we will, but it's not set in stone, and it was not guaranteed. They may be doing some type of massive reprint, right, for the 30th anniversary, as opposed to doing a set that will have the 30th anniversary, kind of like what we saw with Celebrations. We don't know. The market, it's now entering a time where you need to start putting in a lot more analytical thinking into the way you progress through the hobby. So that's the main reason I decided to make this video, kind of just like a fair warning to anybody that's new to the hobby, that has followed us along the journey of our own touchupcollectibles.com, our own business, our own collecting, investing, and everything that I've tried to put out in terms of content here on the channel to you guys is basically to help you out better navigate the hobby. I tried to do investing videos, I tried to do single videos, videos and business videos, essentially trying my best at showing you what things can be done in the hobby, and hopefully you take some advice from the things that I put out and you find them helpful. That's the goal of the channel and the reason why I continue to make these videos for you guys. So I hope this video was helpful. It wasn't too much rambling back and forth in regards to what could potentially happen. So as always, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps the algorithm, it helps me continue to make videos like this for you guys. And as always, stay positive, keep your head up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.